Righty ho, are we there? I think so. Evening all. All very keen tonight. Jessica's not been able to chat on here for a while, but me and Roger do watch. It's all very frustrating on laptop. See if this helps. Yes, seems to be working. Elaine, Roger, good evening. Evening, Andrew, Peter. All working fine. Colin says nothing playing here. I'm here now. Gary says good evening, everybody. Paul says good evening. Gary says we're all keen tonight. Indeed you are. Evening, Peter, Stella. Marvellous. Right, yes, good. I think we're all go, aren't we? Give us a thumbs up under the video. That always helps. Let's see. Right, what have I got to tell you tonight? So, a few more bits have come in across the weekend. I'll show you some pictures of in a minute. Paul has sent some pictures of some of his new machines he's bought or restored over the past year, which will be there at his open day in September. So we'll have a look at those. Got a nice little vintage film clip to end with. Quite a fun one. Which I dug out because I seem to have lost a laughing sailor. Or laughing policeman. I'm not sure what I've done with him, but it's kind of connected to laughing policemen, should we say. Evening Gary, evening Shane, evening Peter. And oh yeah, also have a talk about pickups and collections and things, because it looks like Alan's not going to be returning to work anytime soon, unfortunately. So we'll have to think of some bright ideas on the collection and delivery front, and also auction dates for the rest of the year, which I've been trying to sort out on my bits of paper here. And yeah, there's an awful lot to squeeze in. Right, so where should we start? Let's have a look. Let's have a look, shall we, at so September the 23rd is open day down at Paul Mitchell's collection down in Essex there. We'll put all the details up on the website in due course next week or two, something like that, and obviously in the email, so make sure you get the email through okay, and then we'll put a thing up to download a ticket or something like we did last year. Was it a £5 last year toward the barbecue? I think, I can't remember. Paul will tell us. Something like that. I dare say we do the same. Now somewhere here I've got some pictures. Is that the one? Looks like the one, doesn't it? So these are some bits that Paul's added to his collection in the past year. Walk the Plank, one of his creations. Pusher. Very nice too. So yeah, you won't see many of those around. And a copper flipper. I might have sold one of these before years and years ago. I think, was it last? It might have been on New Year's Eve thing. I was rummaging through some old photographs. I found a picture of one of these that we'd sold, and said, "Can anybody remember seeing one, or who's got one?" And Paul's managed to find one. Mightn't be the same one. I'm not sure. Andrew says, I have some ideas for you on the van driver situation. Why not do a round route, stopping at a couple of pre-arranged locations where there is parking on an out-of-town location near a major road? Yes, Andrew, that's basically probably what we're going to have to end up doing. I'll talk about that in a bit. Paul says, yeah, a £5 towards the food and drinks. Again, the same, yeah. So we'll sort that out, I'd say, in the next week or two, a bit nearer the time. Should be a great day. Evening, Nick. Yes, a copper flipper. What else has Paul added in? A silver chest, Brenco. Very smart there. So probably most of you have seen the little video from last year we did down there. Most of Paul's stuff is kind of electromechanical era, which is very in vogue at the moment. He had the sense to collect it all up when none of the rest of us wanted any of it, and it was easier to come by than it is now. Now it's really hard to come by and suddenly become very popular in the last couple of years. So, oh, to have foresight, hey? Anyway, the castle, little tip them off type thing. We sold this years ago. I remember selling it. Don't know who made it. I think it's probably a refurb, but done very well. Castle top case. So one of those. We've got a tip off type thing in the auction. Andrew says, remembers the silver chest. They came out in 1970, 71, I think, didn't they, for the new decimal coins. Knockout. This looks like a really fun machine. Looking forward to seeing this. Crompton's Knockout. Bowswin is probably the only one that's left. Didn't even know it existed till Paul turned this one up. Evening Ollie. So that's going to be an interesting thing to see and have a go playing. You think like the 30s boxing machine, we had one a few auctions ago, if you remember, like a square cabinet on a stand with a kind of a gun trigger thing at either end. Why am I doing this out of camera? And you play the boxers to knock one over. So I guess it's just taking that idea and making a coin-up version. I remember as a kid having one, a little square boxing ring thing. There's a toy. Some Bally's, a penny star. And I seem to think there was another one, wasn't there? Oh, the matcha fruit, of course. Another rare, nice rare Brenko. Working fine now, I gather. Bally Gold Award. You sell really well in America, these. Pusher. Dozer pusher thing. Well, these 80s, I think these are, aren't they? They're not that old. We don't see them around anymore. Had one on site for a while. King of Clubs. Ace, I think they are. I think they're Ace machines. Kind of a flat wall mounted. We sold one, I think, without the bottom of the cabinet on, just as a wall mounted sort of bandit. Copper Mine, the recreation of the Brenko, which pulls down single-sided ones. Made a few of these. There's one up in Pete Williamson's got one up on site in Norfolk, and there's one up. I think there's one at Roberts as well, up at the garden centre. The name I can never remember. Anyway, a couple have made it onto site. Bullion, tuppenny one, I think there's one there. No, I think we're back to the start again. Just play them round. Yeah, so there we are. I'm sure some more bits and bobs as well. How he's squeezed it all in, I don't know. If you've watched the little video from last year, you'll see it's pretty full. And he's managed to wedge a few more in, so well done. And yeah, good to see some unusual stuff again that we've not seen for a while. But trying to dig a load of mine out. There's a small delegations of American collectors coming over in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Who are visiting a few collectors over here. So I've been trying to dig some of my stuff out and find some interesting things I'd not forgotten I'd got, but forgotten I'd put in some cases. And I still can't find a laughing policeman. I put a laughing policeman somewhere. I don't know where he is. Anyway. The point is that some of this stuff, as I will photograph some of it. There's a lot of BMCO machines. I've got about 40 or 50 of them, I think. Different BMCO machines. A lot of which are listed on the website. We haven't got any photographs of them. Which I blame myself for, because I've got the machines and haven't got around to photographing them. But now I've got them out physically. I will, before they all go back into storage again. For the meantime, at least, I will try and get them all photographed and add those photos onto the website, because there's some nice stuff there. Ollie says, can we bring along a machine to ask advice on electrics? I don't see any reason why not. Not much good asking me, but I'm sure you can ask Paul. Paul says there's always find room for a few more machines. Yeah, that's what I think. You can always squeeze a few more in, can't you? So there we are. Yeah, should be a good day, as I'm sure we'll all look forward to. It was good fun last year. Hopefully the sun will shine again. Right, let me look at my little list. What else are we going to look at? New stuff for sale. New stuff for sale. Right, hang on a minute. Let's find a different set of pictures. New stuff for sale. Yeah, so over on the Qualcomm website, machine-wise, I think there's 17 up there at the minute. These are just temporary photographs. Obviously, they'll all get photographed properly in due course, but just to be going on with. Then a few new bits and bobs have come in the past couple of days, which are here, I think. That's the one. Yep. So some circus stuff to remind me to. Neons. Nice change neon. There's a proper glass neon. A real rich pink, that one. A K, letter K. And proper good red neon. Very hard to photograph neon. It always turns out white. Penny slots. This one is the new sort of LED type neon stuff. One of the collectors had a couple of these custom made. This is a spare one. It's dimmable and flashable, and you can put a timer on it and all sorts of things. It's kind of remote controlled, which is quite clever. Good for your games room there. What else have we got in new? Let's have a look. Sega Copper Star. This one's on old penny. Come from Hemsby Arcade, this one, originally. Pretty good chrome. Good for mica. Bandit Stand. This one come off the end of Southend Pier. So a little bit of history to it. Pretty good again for mica. Another one of these fun little automata, little hand crank automata. He was here. I moved him off a desk. Little duck waddles along. Some new bits now. One of these little perfume vending machines. Sold a couple in the past. They're plastic. They're sort of made for diner tops and things, I think. Napkin dispensers either side. Perfume vending, like a mottled early plastic. I think it's Bakelite as such. I'm not sure what the plastic is, but they're almost always missing the backflash. Just breaks off. Just a bit of plastic. And they're usually cracked. They've never got any perfume in them, and they've rarely got their original locks and keys. This one has got all of the above. So very good condition. It's got its backflash, original lock and key, and it's got some of the original perfume vials in it. They're like little cardboard tubes. I think they have 6 maybe little tiny little glass vials inside. You just snap the end off of a perfume. So there's a few in there. So it's super rare, sweet little thing. And kind of a nice blue. It hasn't photographed the colour very well, but nice blue kind of mottled, marbled plastic. So that's quite fun. What's chatting on? Peter says it was a really great day out at Paul's. In the history book as one of the best. Marvellous. Paul says thank you very much. Glad you enjoyed it. Peter C says I'll second that, Peter. Great day out at Paul's last year. Marvellous. Yes, we'll do it all again. And then we'll twist Peter Williamson's arm in the spring when hopefully the Yarmouth arcade gets extended. All being well, we'll have a day there. And probably go up to Roberts again, and anywhere else we can find to go to. My time has been a bit mad this year. It's going to be even madder over the next few months with all the auctions in, which I'll talk about in a minute. Anyway, back to new stuff that's in. So yeah, a little perfume vendor. I tried to do a little close up there. These are crap phone photos. So but yeah, you can just about see the little cardboard tubes in there with the perfumes in. Very nice clock and in clock. This one's always stored and keeps good time working. Really smart one, and not the too big one. This is kind of the slightly smaller one. It's a more manageable size you could have in your house, only a foot wide or so, 2.5 high, something like that. The real big ones are so big and heavy, they're a bit too much for most people to have in their house. But this one you can use as a running clock, and you could also stamp yourself in and out if you want to. Very, very nice roulette machine. Not a Buzo. This one is a... No, what was the name of the maker? Charles, I think. George George, something like that. I'll have to look it up again. Really fantastic castings on the front of this. A 3-slot play. The little indicators show what you bet on. Amazing mechanisms in these things. And you'll see here the little close up. The little man pops up. What's he supposed to be, like a gendarme, I think. As the machine comes, he pops up to point out the winner, to stop the reel and point out the winner. Did I do? Yeah, there's the mech. Doesn't look much on the photograph, but when I do the video, you'll see the mech a bit better. There's a lot of it. But all working, token payout. Quite a rare thing. So that's rather nice. A Duchess, a Mark III Duchess, old penny play. Good for micro on this one. Working. Don't think there's any keys, but it's unlocked. Original lock there in the cash box. And it's got a cash tin in it as well, proper cash tin. It's quite smart. Front opener, good to operate, of course. Oh, there we are. Back to square one. Let's just roll these through then. So yeah, so stuff's coming in. What's coming in this week that I know of? Can't remember. I think there are a couple of people dropping stuff off in the week. So we'll do some more updates. Friday will be the next one. I won't do a video tomorrow night because I've done tonight instead of Sunday. But hopefully we'll do some more stuff by Friday. So entries close in 2 weeks' time, or 2 weeks' time yesterday. So that's the where's my little calendar gone? The 10th, yeah, 10th of September. So you've got best part of 2 weeks to get stuff to me. This coming week I'll be in Cambridge most of the week. Next weekend I'll get to Cambridge either Saturday or Sunday, not sure yet. So if you want to meet at Leamington next weekend to drop stuff off or pick anything up, then get in touch and I'll see. I'll try to juggle a lot of things around, but we'll be there either Saturday or Sunday next weekend. So just bear that in mind. If it's easier to collect stuff or drop stuff off from Leamington Spa, you're very welcome. Yes, which kind of brings on to pickups, drop-offs, etc. A nice little video to see in a minute. Yeah, so the problem with, as I say, Alan's not going to be returning to work anytime soon by the sounds of things, which is a bit of a shame, but there we are. Family comes first, of course. So yes, thinking what I can do. Practically, I haven't got time to be driving around all over the place like I used to. I'm just far too busy. As I say, looking at the auction diary for what I've got to try and slot in. So we've got the sale on the 24th of September. Then I've got a TV job to do for a couple of weeks, which has just come in. And then it looks like possibly from the 15th of October through to the 17th of December, there may well be an auction every single Sunday. So I've got to do a bit of a house clearance one. I've got a big book auction to do. I've got that big McGill auction to do. It's about 2,000 postcards. It's potentially 2 different single owner collections. I'm talking to them both at the moment. Whether they're going to both come in this side of Christmas, I'm not sure. Might merge them into one auction. It's going to kind of depend what the overlap is on the 2 collections, really, of what to be fair to both of them. So I'm not sure on that one, but potentially there's 2 single owner collections. There's a collection of Butlin's stuff, another auction, another single owner one. Then the next proper amusements one, which will be the 26th of November. And then I've penciled in at the moment, these dates aren't firm yet, but I've penciled in for December the spares auction. There's a big collection of circus stuff for another auction. And then potentially, if I can get it organised in time, my own special midlife crisis clear out auction. I'm trying to find 1,001 lots of things I really don't need. to give me some much needed space so I can actually find the things I have got, which is the problem I've been having this weekend, and also to fund another project, which I'll talk about at the end of the year. So there'll be machines, there'll be some fairground stuff, there'll be advertising stuff, there'll be all sorts. I know there'll be books and smaller bits and bobs. Might put a car or two in. I've got far too many cars. All sorts. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. Evening, David. Just got in. Dirty stop out, David. Been out on the razzle, I shouldn't wonder. So yeah, so hence a busy time. So which brings me to the point that I haven't got time to keep running about all over the place doing collections and deliveries. But being here, Cambridge, where I am most of the time at the minute, trying to sort this house out, and the meeting at Leamington works well. So yes, as who was it who suggested earlier on? Andrew said, yeah, trying to find up and down the country, north, south, east and west, a few points where I could meet people. So I could be there for an hour or two, take my big van, and yeah, you could drop stuff off to put into the auctions or collect stuff that you bought previously. So it stops everybody having to drive a long way. I think that's going to have to be the answer. It's not perfect. I know door-to-door delivery is better, but for the meantime, at least for the rest of this year, it's probably about the best I can arrange realistically. Obviously, if you can find yourself a carrier, then brilliant. If you can find a really good carrier, excellent. Let the rest of us know. The problem is with carriers for our kind of stuff, as I put in the email, it's, you know, the sort of stuff we deal in, machines, fairground rides, big enamel signs, lumps of advertising stuff and whatnot. It's heavy, bulky, awkward, but it's also fragile, and it's also valuable. And trying to find any carrier that wants to deal with all that combined, they just don't, and it's not interested, most of them. It can be difficult stuff to insure for carriers, antiques and collectibles, because it's not easily replaceable. So it's not like, you know, if you order something from Amazon, it gets lost or damaged, well, they just send you another one. If I sell you a unique slot machine, the carrier breaks it, I can't give you another one, can I? No matter the money. So that's the problem. So with that in mind, I think that'll be the answer. I'm going to have to sit down with a map for a few hours and just have a look and see if we can figure out. I'll try and do it at weekends, because obviously that's when most people are free of school runs, work, so on and so forth. I know it doesn't suit everybody, but I have to go with the majority, try and please as many people as possible. And I was thinking, well, I could probably do on a good run, maybe 3 stops in a day, something like that, sort of a couple of hours apart, potentially, and stop at each one for an hour at a time, say, for example. Which means I could go kind of all the way up the northeast coast, say. If I tried to find 3 stops 2 hours apart, potentially anybody in that whole of that area up the north, you know, up the east coast, if you like, would only be an hour away from a drop-off point. And then another weekend I could do northwest, I could do sort of the Midlands and across into Wales maybe, southwest, southeast down into Kent, and then probably start again. So maybe try and find sort of 4 or 5 or 6 routes or whatever. So trying to map out points where you can cover as much of the country as possible, where hopefully nobody will be much more than an hour away from any one of the points. So that's a bit of a grand plan. It's going to take some sorting out. But with that in mind, if anybody knows anybody, if anyone can think of a good place, motorway services aren't ideal because of the car parking restrictions. Sometimes you can only park there for an hour. And just while I've been thinking about it in the last few days and out of my travels and calling in a few services just because I needed to, actually they're not terribly practical because they're always really, really busy. It's hard to find space. By that I mean, if I park my van somewhere, trying to find a space next to it is almost always impossible, and they're really busy. People milling about lots of cars, lots of people, lots of kids. If you're trying to reel a slot machine, a one-arm bandit from one side of the services to another, it's not going to work, is it? So we could do with things like, I don't know, if anybody happens to have, or maybe you're friendly with a pub landlord or a cafe type place that's got a little bit of a car park. Don't know really. If you've got a unit on an industrial estate at the weekend, they tend to be empty, don't they? Because there's nobody usually working at the weekend. So maybe we could perhaps park up outside your unit for an hour or so. Those kind of things. If you can think of anywhere, if you've got anywhere or you know anywhere, maybe your friend, relative has got somewhere. You know, we don't want to just rock up somewhere randomly without permission, obviously. But and anywhere in the country, literally, and I'll sort of stick them on a map and then try and figure out how we can do it. So that's the plan. I'll work on it and we'll see if we can get it working. Paul says, cut out London now with the new charging for emissions. Yes, definitely. I had to go to London the other day. I had to go right through the centre of London, which was really annoying because it means I had to pay SAD IQ's £15 fee or whatever it is, which I wasn't very happy about. Well, there we are. Andrew, do you have a copy of the peer pressure doc? Have I got a copy of peer pressure? I don't think I have, is a short answer to that. I've got a copy of Puppets, Peers and Penguins, which was the other BBC doc I did. I think I've got that on DVD, but I don't actually think I've got peer pressure. I think they didn't send me one for some reason. You can order them, but they cost a fortune, like 200 quid or something for the BBC. Whether it's online, if you do a search on Google, on YouTube or something. Yeah, I'm not sure. Peer pressure. No, I don't think I have. I think I've only got the other one. I don't think I've got the peer pressure one. So the BBC did 2 years ago, when I had the peer, obviously, they did two documentaries. They did one, the BBC did a thing over several summers of going to different areas of the country. And they do special radio shows. They put bits on like the news. What's that? Can't think what it's called. The One Show, was it? I think they did some clips into that. Various other things, and then in each kind of town they visited, they did like a half-hour documentary. The one they did in Colwyn Bay was called Puppets, Peers and Penguins. So it's a half-hour doc, and they featured the Puppet Theatre in Colwyn Bay, which was one of only 2 left, I think, puppet theatres in the country, purpose-built. So they did that. They did Me and the Pier, and they did Colwyn Bay Zoo. So that was a documentary they did in Colwyn that year. And the BBC liked the Pier story so much, they did as a separate thing, just on the back of that, they did a half-hour documentary about Me and the Pier, called Peer Pressure, because of all the hassle that was going on at the time. And that went out on BBC Wales. BBC One Wales, I think it was. I don't know if it went on the BBC National or not, but BBC One Wales. It might have been out on BBC Two nationally. I can't remember, to be quite honest. But yeah, don't know. Have to search for it. Peter Stiller says, make them pick them up. You managed in the old days. Well, yes, there is that. Just, yeah, tough. No other auction does what I do, but there we are. I'm too good. Despite rumours, I'm too good to people. You know, I do my best to accommodate people. Doesn't always work, but yeah, do our best. As I say, they are tricky things from any, as you know, if any of you bought any odd machines from other auctions anywhere else, trying to get a carrier to pick them up without Alan is virtually impossible. So you have to get any car and go and drive to an auction to get them. It's a pain. And really, just these days, just the cost of it is, you know, just try and make things efficient. That's the point. If I can take the van somewhere and meet 5 people, you know, that can split the costs, and it makes it cheaper for everybody. Gary says you might use what 3 words to give accurate locations better than postcodes. Yes, what 3 words is very good. We use it in TV all the time to find, you know, if we're working on location. It's a really good app. If you haven't got what 3 words, you can download it on your phone. And it divides the whole world up into 3 meter squares, 10-foot squares. So you can find places very, very accurately. So yes, good idea. David says Exeter services have signs up saying no stock swapping in the parking area or you will be prosecuted. Yeah, as I say, that is a problem with services. I've seen that in another one as well. And as I say, a lot of them now are restricted. You can only stop for an hour or you have to pay. And they camera you when you go in and out. Can't see why. I mean, if you're there, everybody's going to go in for a cup of tea, aren't they, and buy a sandwich or something. So it seems a bit short-sighted to me. But yeah, hence I think we'll just avoid services. And so, as I say, if you know anybody a bit more friendly than a service station, who's got somewhere, probably willing to be for an hour at the most. And it's not like we're having hundreds of people, is it? There might be 3 or 4 people come to meet me. If it's somewhere we can get a cup of tea, all the better. So put your thinking caps on, people. And let me know on that one. Right, what else have I got to tell you? So that's that. Pictures we've done for Paul's. New stuff is what's scrolling through at the minute. Yeah, so 2 weeks' time, the entries will close for the September auction. I'm around Cambridge most of this week, and I'll be at the Elephant House one day next weekend, so get in touch. Andrew says, you're welcome to park outside my home, cul-de-sac with parking. Well, it might come to that yet. We might have to borrow people's houses if they really don't mind. A slight invasion of privacy, isn't it? But we all kind of know each other anyway, don't we? So it's, yes. If anybody's up for that, let me know. So it needs to be somewhere I can stick my big van and potentially 1 or 2 other cars. And the neighbours aren't going to report you for doing dodgy deals and things. Right, shall we have a look at a little video? I can't remember if I've shown you this one before or not. I don't think I have. Robert Hines Smith found it originally, sent it to me. It's about Insel, who made the Laughing Sailor characters. And various other ones as well. With brilliant faces, brilliant characters. It's only 2 minutes long, so we'll just watch that and then we'll round things up, shall we? Let me just put my headphones on so I can hear the commentary, which is quite good. That should do the job. And we can't find it online. Oh, peer pressure film. I'm not sure where you get it. You would be able to get it directly from the BBC, but I think they charge a lot for it. Unless they've changed now, you might be able to sort of download it online. You used to be able to order it as a DVD, you see, with the BBC was the problem, and ITV the same. So they'd have to go to the effort of going to get the master tapes, burn it onto a DVD, and send it to you. And that cost money. It used to be about 200 quid. It's really expensive. But now maybe it might all just be all digital, so they might be able to email you a link to it or something. I've ever been up on iPlayer. Don't know. BBC Wales, that would be your start, because they actually produced it rather than BBC, you know, BBC London, BBC Productions or whatever. So try BBC Wales. And if you get stuck, get back to me and I'll see if I can do anything. Right, hang on a minute then. Let's have a look at this little film. So I think it's only 2 minutes long, and then we'll round things off. Film, here we are.
don't believe half the things we see these days. We've become blasé. Yet a little make-believe never hurt anyone. For proof, let's meet a man who lives in a fairy tale world of the little people and woodland folk, and looks very well on it too. 78-year-old John Insull, uncrowned king of probably only 4 super craftsmen of this type in the world. John Insull not only makes his little people, but the sets and every working part of the intricate mechanism. In fact, the lot. That clay head we saw was merely the first stage. From that, a mold was created and the gnome's head made again from papier-mâché. After baking, the various sections are joined together, as you can see, and the accessories added. During the 19 years that Mr. Insull has been at this fascinating workshop, tucked away in a leading Croydon store, his reputation has become worldwide. But success seems to come naturally to John. He made an international name for himself many years ago as Hinzel the Comedy Conjurer. It was the advent of the talkies which set him, in his 40s, on a new and even more distinguished career. John attributes much of his skill to his days as an illusionist, when he had to make all his own props. But while skill can be acquired, the almost human quality he imparts is something that cannot be learnt. It has to be felt. Hey, wake up at the back. Not surprisingly, some of John's best craftsmanship has produced individual masterpieces, such as ventriloquist's dummies. The original Archie Andrews, for example. But for most of us, it's the little people who symbolize the charming talent of John Insull. With some of us...
Oh, and there you go. Unfortunately, as always, there's little pathé clips cut off rather quickly because they were all strung together. There was lots of little clips in the original newsreels. So they kind of cut off always too soon, which is rather sad. But aren't they brilliant? His characters are really, really good. But you kind of recognise the just the look from the sailors and whatnot. So that was quite sweet. Whatever happened to all those? You wonder. Right, so let's have a quick look at the wanted on the slot sale pending the next auction. See what people are looking for. If you've got any of these and you fancy cashing them in, then it's always worth a look on the wanted section. Rotary merchandiser, club chief steerable, some of the latest things in. Cranes, 7 balls. Cranes, someone desperate for cranes. Lots of cranes wanted. Yeah, and the usual Sweetie Allwins, which I just cannot find for... I haven't had to find any Sweetie Allwins for months. Don't know where they've all gone. There we go. Keep a lookout and see what you can find. There we go. Right, so I think that's probably about it, is it? Let's go back to stick the slotty one up, since most of you are slotties here, aren't you? There we go. So say next video will be Friday night. I won't do one Tuesday as I'm doing this Monday. That wouldn't make much sense, would it? Hopefully there'll be some more bits in to see by then. You know where I am in the meantime if you want me, and I will try and firm up some of these auction dates as well. So I'll sort of pencil them in. I've got a lot of other things coming up as well. There's a telly job coming in. There's stuff to do with inquest and all that still going on. Yeah, lots of things to jiggle, but we shall get it all sorted. And if you can think of any good locations, do let me know. Any locations for pick up, drop up points where we can meet people. And if it's somewhere we can have a cup of tea and a chat while we're there, all the better. All the better. So that's it. I shall bid you all farewell and catch up again Friday night. Thank you very much. And see you then. Let me just stick in here. Next video Friday night. None Tuesday this week. There we go. Stick that in there for anybody who tunes in late. Catch you then. Nighty night.